Hey everybody, welcome back to Jetlag Productions. So I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about helicopters. A company called Blade has been putting out a lot of helicopters lately, and I'm very impressed with them. They're distributed by Horizon Hobbies, but Blade helicopters have kind of become the standard in small, affordable helicopters that fly really well. They've had a lot of models over the past couple of years, and they're really an extremely good flying helicopter. They're easy to learn. They do a nice job on the quality of workmanship, and I'm very impressed with them. You'll know some of these helicopters. The SR, the MSR, the UH Huey that I flew in a video just a few weeks ago. The 453D helicopter, the MQX, the quadcopter. All of these helicopters are from Blade, and they come out with a couple of new ones. One of them is the 450X, which is very similar to the 453D, except it's got the Beast X 3-axis gyro system on it. And in fact, I've got a brand new one right here, and we're going to take it out of the box, and we're going to fly it and see how it does. All right, one of the first things I want to talk about is the difference between this and the standard 453D. Now here is my 453D Blade. I've done a few modifications to it, but you guys have seen this helicopter quite a few times. It's been in multiple videos that I've got up. And it's a pretty cool helicopter. It flies pretty good, and I like it. One of the things you will notice though is when you look at the head, you will notice that there is a lot fewer parts and mechanical pieces that are part of the head than there are on the standard 450. The standard 450, one of the biggest things you're going to know difference is you can see the fly bars. All of those mechanical parts that you have on the 450, those all rob the motor of power and the turning speed for the rotor. So every part you see there, which is required, you have to have it if you have a fly bar, because that's the only way you can keep control of the helicopter correctly. But all of those parts spinning and moving, those all rob power from the amount of power that the motor can deliver directly to the rotor and give you speed of the head. Once again, on the Flybarless, you don't have that problem because it's pretty much a direct connection. There's not a lot of extra parts there. Not only that, but when you crash, which everybody does when they fly helicopters, it's just part of the game, there's much less to repair because there's just not as many parts in a Flybarless setup. No flybar, none of the cage and other things that, you know, the other pieces that go along with a flybar, all the moving parts and levers, you don't have any of that. So that's a huge difference, and not only is it just Flybarless that makes it different, it's also the fact that more of the power from the motor is actually going to get to the rotor and give you better rotational speed, which will translate immediately into a better flying helicopter and give you more power to do the kinds of things you might want to do with it. Now the Blade 450X only comes in a BNF configuration, I believe. What that means is bind and fly. So it doesn't come with a transmitter. It comes with the receiver and the 3-axis gyro. Now if I'm wrong on that, and if there's a plug and play version or a complete version, somebody I'm sure will clear that up for me, but I believe it's only a bind and fly version that they offer it in. So you need to have your own radio. Anything that will connect to a Spektrum receiver will work. What I've got is, for some of my other planes and helis, I've got a DX6i, great little 6-channel radio, and that works just fine with the Blade 450X. And in fact, they've gone to the trouble in the manual of actually giving you the exact settings, everything you need to set up your radio to fly with this helicopter for a lot of the common radios, and the DX6i is one of those. So it's very easy. You bind it to your helicopter just like you would bind anything else, and then you open up the manual, and on one of the first few pages they start right out with telling you what all the settings are. And look right there. If we zoom in on that a little bit, you can see that that's actually Spektrum DX6i. So they give you every single setting right there in that section that you need on the radio. Okay, now we're going to try a little test here. This helicopter has never been flown, and I set up my radio directly from the manual pages for what the settings should be for a DX6i Spektrum radio. So we're actually going to try to fly this helicopter for the very first time, going right off of the factory settings. So A little bit nervous because anytime you fly a new helicopter, there's always things that you don't expect, but at the same time, I'm very confident that it's going to be okay because Blade does a really nice job of giving you information about their helicopters and giving you the correct settings so that you can at least have a baseline to start with and then change for whatever you like. So we're going to give it a shot here. I'm going to plug it in, turn it on, and we're going to see if we can go flying. Okay, now I was pretty impressed with that very first flight for two reasons. Number one, the settings that they gave me in the manual worked very well with the DX6. 450 size helicopters, by their very nature, how small they are a little bit twitchy. Anybody that's flown one knows what I'm talking about. This particular helicopter, because it's got the Beast X 3-axis gyro on it, it was actually much less twitchy and much more stable and flat in the air than pretty much any helicopter I've flown with a flybar system. And that is because that 3-axis gyro is helping you correct and keep the helicopter where you put it, keeping it flat or keeping it however you turned it. So very impressed. The helicopter flew great. That was the very first flight, and I was happy to see that it was a successful one and didn't have any real problems with it. It felt like it flew pretty well and pretty calmly. Next thing we're going to do is take it outside and see how this helicopter reacts when you put it through a little bit of mild 3D with the Beast X controller.